Welcome to another edition of Am Abel Foundation's Medicine Makers, where if your destination is a career in medicine, we'll show you how to get there. I am your host, Dr. Sweetie Conway.
And I'm your co-host, Kellen Scott, and today we will be talking about medical school basics and a high school student.
Wonderful. But before we do that, we want to let you know that our applications to Urban Bridges Medical Mentoring Program are now open. If you are a high school, college, or post-bac student who is interested in becoming a physician, and you live in the Chicagoland area, our applications are open. This is an outstanding program where you'll have an opportunity to be paired one-to-one to your own physician mentor. There's academic advising. There is an academic tutoring and STEM program, and the list just goes on and on. So if you want to apply, or if you know some young people who are interested in becoming a physician, please make sure that they apply right now without delay.
And remember, you can find us live on CAN TV 21 or 99, or you can stream us live online at cantv.org/hotline. That is cantv.org/hotline. We will also be able to be streamed live on Facebook Live currently. We also invite you to please share our live streaming links on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Also, today we'll be taking questions, so make sure that you guys call in to 312-738-1060. That's 312-738-1060.
Fabulous. So we made it, Kellen. Yeah. Despite all of the slipping, the sliding, and the ice, we actually made it with a couple of minutes to spare. So we're so happy to be here. The goal of Am Abel Foundation is to push amazing content out to our underrepresented students out there in the Chicagoland area who don't have a clue on what to do in order to become a physician. As a kid growing up in Inglewood who felt like I was forgotten, this information that we're providing is life-changing, and we're glad to be a part of it and to share that mission with you.
Yeah, so fantastic.
Yes, it is.
So today, since we're talking about the whole medical school experience, I have some questions to ask you, Dr. Sweetie, since you went through the whole process yourself and you're pretty much an expert at it. So getting into medical school is very complicated, and not many people know where to start.
Absolutely.
And a lot of students are currently they're intimidated about getting into it. So that's what's preventing them from getting into the whole process. So can you help our students understand the whole process altogether of what to do and how to get into medical school?
I will. And you know what? The fun thing about it, and the wonderful thing about it, is over time we're going to start breaking down the processes in smaller pieces. Today I'll talk in general, a general overview, and we'll let you know some of the things that, they're going to be helpful along your journey. So just hang on with me here for just a moment. All right, so I want to tell you a little bit about, these are some of our young people that are in our program, but getting accepted is a big deal. And even though I try to make it not seem like a big deal because I don't want people to be intimidated, we know that getting accepted into medical school is still a big deal. My own personal experience, which I've shared with many of you, and this is not to discourage you, because what is for you as long as you set yourself on that path. But the year that I applied to medical school in the early 90s, 17,000 people applied for 120 seats. It is as competitive today, and sometimes more competitive. So what are the things that you need to know? Number one, you need to understand that you are working on your acceptance to medical school right now. Everything that you're doing, from grade school even to high school to college, is setting you up for your success in medical school. But what are the requirements to get into medical school? The first thing is you have to meet the traditional medical school benchmarks. I always tell the students that who get a little frustrated when I share with them the journey. I said, these are not my benchmarks. These are the benchmarks of the American Association of Medical Colleges, which kind of establish some guidelines, and all of the medical schools in the United States. And we all have to meet those. What are the benchmarks? MCAT score. MCAT scores on the high end can range as high as 528. That's way over in the 99 point whatever percentile. That's now obviously an outstanding score. But 500 represents the mean. So many students, or the average or the mean grade is, or median grade is about 500. So if students are hoping or planning to get in medical school, their goal should be to make sure that they hit the 500 mark at least. And we'll talk about that along the way. That's not necessarily an easy task. One thing we do know is that minority students have traditionally struggled, unfortunately, when it comes to standardized tests. And the MCAT is no exception. This goes for ACT, SAT as well. And we talked about that last week when we were looking at the disappearance of black men in medicine and the challenges that are related to testing. And we do believe that it's a complex answer, not a simple answer, but one of the things and the goals of the Am Abel Foundation is to try to give our students the skills that they need to be successful. It is really about learning the language of test taking. I can definitely tell you as a kid growing up in Inglewood versus today, that I have learned how to take tests. And sometimes tests do not reflect your true knowledge or your ability to be a doctor. I mean, of course, they play a role. You have to have knowledge in order to answer a question. But taking a test becomes a skill. And even though we may not like that is used to make all of the decisions that we have in life, we have to be able to, come up to the expectations of the test takers. So getting a strong score is super important. Grades, not to be overlooked. Grades have to be high. So when people are telling you, you got a B and that's good, I'm telling you it's not. And I don't give it to you. I don't give it to you fluffed up. I give it to you straight and no chaser. And I think it's important that our students, especially our students of color, it is important that we realize that you have to hit the mark. They are kids in all of these communities in some of the high tier and high performing schools who are giving them the grades that they're looking for. And I think that our students need to understand that we need to be looking at good grades. What's a good grade? Point average? At least a 3.5 and above. And that is approximately the GPA that's going to put you in a position to feel comfortable, at least, with your application. It's not the only thing, but it is definitely one thing that's very important. Solid undergraduate college is another one. So what do we mean by that? There's lots of great schools, but you definitely want to be, attend a school that's on the radar of the medical colleges that you're applying to. Many students ask, well, is it okay to go to a junior college? And it is. There's no right or wrong specifically. You do have to create your own pathway, but certainly you have to be very, very careful about the type of courses that you take at a junior college. Because, and we'll talk about this on a later show, there are certain universities or medical centers or medical schools that won't accept some of your key pre-med requirements from a junior college. So that is very important. So a quality undergraduate experience is very important. It may start at the junior college level, but certainly you want to make sure that you're mentored and counseled by people like mentors at the Am Abel Foundation so that we can guide you so that you can make the right decisions. Some people start at junior colleges because that's what's more affordable. So we talked about undergraduate, college experience. The next thing that you need to have is a very good preclinical experience. And you have had a great preclinical experience. What's one of the things you've been able to do?
Yes, I had the opportunity of shadowing a cardiologist at Elmhurst Hospital, and I was able to sit in on a procedure. He was performing an angiogram on one of his patients, so I was able to stand in the back and kind of watch him perform that.
Absolutely. How meaningful was that for you?
Oh, it was really cool. It was it kind of made it more realistic for me. from what, like, all the things that I've seen about, like, becoming a doctor, I've seen off of TV shows. That's what really inspired me to become a doctor. But to actually sit in the operating room, scrub in like an actual doctor, and like watch it being performed in front of my very eyes, and have him explain what he's doing to me, it was pretty like unreal, and it was just so amazing.
It really helps you to understand how you are changing lives, you know. Angiograms, you can go in and unblock arteries and essentially change a person's whole ability to function. So very powerful. Those preclinical experiences are also expected for students who want to become a physician, because they want to know that you really know that you want to do this. I can think of, and you may remember this, when we went to the anatomy lab at Loyola. I don't know if you noticed that some of the students started with us, didn't finish with us. You haven't seen them. And what do you think that might be?
Maybe they just probably got freaked out over seeing it. Like,
absolutely. And so why do they want you to have preclinical experience? You just said it. They need to know, do you really want to do this? Do you really know what you are signing up for? You need to know the intensity of the work, how much effort is going into it, how much time is devoted to it, the interactions between patients and students and doctors. Those are things that you need to know in advance. The unfortunate and challenging thing, especially for minority students and those underrepresented in medicine, is those are the same people who don't have family members or don't know people that would actually let them come in and shadow them. And that's why it is so important. Organizations like Am Abel Foundation, where we're actually creating a bridge of opportunity for our students by connecting you to Chicago area top docs who are willing and interested in helping you with that experience. Some of the other things, volunteering. So volunteering is super important. Many of our students volunteer at places like the VA, or many of our students are preparing to volunteer at hospitals like the Loretto Hospital, where we have a very close relationship and actually have many of our sessions. So volunteering is also one of the expectations. Another fun thing to keep in mind, diverse experiences. And I think that's pretty important as well. As we talk about, what do we mean by diverse experience? Opportunities to travel abroad, for example, to Haiti, to Cuba, to live abroad even, where you know how to step outside of your comfort zone. You also know how to respect and develop cultural sensitivities for people that you may not have previously understood. So going and living in a culture that's completely different than your own allows you not only the opportunity to grow and to learn, and shows a willingness to do that, but it also helps you to develop cultural sensitivities for other people that you really don't know so well. So those are some experiences. Another thing that we consider or medical schools are looking at is higher level science courses. So, we talk a lot about in medicine, like which classes are going to be required. And there are these, there is a cohort of classes that everyone needs to take. Do you remember some of them?
Like AP Bio.
I mean in college.
Oh, in college.
In college. Oh, yeah, college. We'll get to that too. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Sciences, I know psychology is one of them, biology, chemistry, organic chemistry.
Organic chemistry, sure.
And then so much more.
Much more. So let's talk about that a little bit. Some of the courses that are absolutely required in order to, pretty much to get into any medical school is you need an entire year of biology with lab. And it's not just any biology course that they may have at the college, because there's an assortment of courses that you have to take. But it's biology with lab, and it's for biology majors. Inorganic chemistry with lab, organic chemistry with lab, physics with lab. Those are basically your big block. Some of the other courses that are required because they feel like this will supplement your knowledge is psychology and sociology, stats, calculus is often required. From different schools have different requirements, but quite a few require those, and biochemistry. Those are the heavy hitters. However, when we talk about success in higher level science classes, they also want to see that you're doing well in courses like genetics, molecular biology, cell biology, anatomy, and physiology. So when we talk about, is it required when you're in college to major in biology? You know, I have strong opinions about that. I'm a little less fluffy than a lot of people that you might meet along the way. And I give it to you straight and no chaser. You can major in whatever you want, so they say. But the bottom line is, you still, if you want to be able to get into the schools of your choice, you actually have to meet all of the requirements of the particular school that you're applying to. For example, you may apply to Harvard, and Harvard might require calculus. Another school might not require calculus. Right. You may apply to University of Illinois, and they may say, you know what, besides all of the standard courses that we expect, we want you to take anatomy and physiology. They may say that. And then there'll be another medical school that says, okay, besides all of the standard ones that we already discussed, we want to make sure you take genetics. So what happens with your major when you take all of the pre-health majors that's required just to get into medical school, and then you look at all of the different schools that you're interested in, and they each want something different that is a higher level science course. You end up approximating a major in biology. So sure, you can major in dance if you want to, but by the time you finish, you need to cover all of those classes, those heavy hitter classes that we discussed, which are the base essentially. The inorganic chemistry, a year. Organic chemistry, usually a year. Biochemistry, which is typically a semester. A whole year biology and a whole year physics. And then apart from that, other supportive classes or expected classes, or even if they're not expected for that medical school, they're on the MCAT. Mm-hmm. So sociology is big on it's represented fairly heavily on the MCAT. Psychology, you know, and all of those things. Stats, there's a fair amount of stats that does show up. Mm-hmm. There's typically not any calculus that's on the MCAT, but it may help you in terms of doing problem sets in physics or maybe in chemistry, so, or helping your understanding. So, and in addition to that, schools really look fondly on it if you can take genetics or cell biology or molecular biology, which are really high level courses. They're 200 and 300 level courses, and if you do really well in it, then those bode well for you. So a 3.5 grade point average in those courses. And I don't want anybody that is listening to me and hearing all of those classes to be afraid, because you have to do it just like you learn how to walk. Mm-hmm. You have to take your time and space yourself. One of the things that I think the Am Abel Foundation does really well in our academic advising is looking at minority students and making sure that they understand that, hey, we know that for many of you, you may have come from poorly resourced schools that didn't even have all of those courses, like the AP courses that many other students have. We talk about strategies to get you prepared and to get you where you need to be. Mm-hmm. So that kind of is my spiel on the classes. So yes, you have to take a lot of high level classes. That is essentially it. So in summary, great MCAT score, great grades, a fair amount of volunteering. You know, people want to know that you have a heart to serve. Diverse experiences like travel abroad or living abroad. Preclinical and shadowing experiences, which you can really get through mentoring and mentorship programs like Am Abel Foundation. And I think in general that kind of sums up the kind of things. Research, I forgot to mention that. Oh yeah. Which is another tough one to sometimes get. But being associated with programs like Am Abel Foundation, we can connect you to people and people in the basic and the clinical sciences who are doing research. And that's actually a big part. You've already applied to a summer program. That's one of the requirements of Am Abel Foundation is that all of our students are connected during their summer experiences to research types of programs. Yeah. So very, very important. We can take a call right now if you're out there at 312-738-1060, 312-738-1060. Any other things that you have in mind that you think that we should talk to our young people about at all?
Oh, yes. I think one of the biggest questions that a lot of people might have is, do you start the process of getting to medical school in high school? Does that matter? Does your high school grades matter?
Yeah, that's a good point. A good point, and I'm going to take you to a slide here. It actually does matter. Why higher level sciences and math are important in high school. One of the things that you need to know is that you're competing in college with students who have parents many times that are even physicians. And so they have one up on you. They know what it's like, and someone has already given them the 411 on how hard they need to work and what kind of grades. They already have the expectations set, which is super, super important. One of the things that I talk about a lot with our students is that we encourage many of our kids to take AP courses. So yeah, to answer your question, that's important. Why are AP courses important? Well, because when you get to college, wouldn't it be nice before you get to chemistry that you take in college that you've seen it twice?
Right.
Once when you first took it maybe as a sophomore, and then again as an AP physics or chemistry, because that will help you feel much more comfortable when you're seeing this college level class, which is going to be at accelerated pace. Looks like we have a caller. Be happy to take your call right now. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, thank you. My name is Mary. I have a question for Dr. Conway.
Yes.
I have a 7th grade son that is talking about being a doctor, and I just wanted to know if it's too early to start him in anything, or do your foundation offer anything for that age group?
Thank you so much for asking that question. Honestly, that is one of the saddest things that I'm dealing with right now, is that we're not getting our young men interested in medicine. We love having Kellen with us, but it's not enough of them, and I know they're out there somewhere. So yes, we do feel like it starts early. Our focus at Am Abel Foundation has been for largely high school and college students, but this year we're beginning to do more outreach to our younger students with isolated events. It's difficult because our program and our program at Am Abel Foundation is fairly intense, as you know. It's an immersion experience, so most 7th and 8th graders are just simply not prepared for that. However, we are doing many things, like for example, coming up on August the 3rd, we're going to have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade boys, and it's going to be hosted by men of color, brown and black men of color, from all over Chicago, and they will not only be playing basketball with our kids, but also afterwards hosting a panel discussion so that they can see a ton of African American men and Latino men who really love what they're doing in medicine and want to share the joy of medicine. So thank you for that call. Yes, we got to get a hold of our young men early so that we can actually shape and mold their minds. Very important. Thank you for the call. Any other thoughts that you were thinking about for us? You were talking about, I want to elaborate a little bit more about high school students. I kind of talked about it a little bit, but I want to go back into that again about the importance of our young people in high school not taking it easy. A lot of times when I have my academic sessions, I'll meet kids like you, and they'll tell me, okay, well, I'm a senior. And so I was planning on having an easy senior year. And I told them, not anymore. You're not planning on having an easy senior year. Why do we say that? Because senior year is probably the best time to actually push yourself. You know why? Because by the time you're in the middle of senior year, most of the time you've already been accepted to the colleges you're going to. So unless you totally mess up, you already got your seat in college. So it is so much better and so much smarter to use that opportunity to push yourself, to take an AP class in chemistry or AP class in physics, so that when you get there in your first year, those classes will not seem foreign and they'll seem comfortable. So those are some of the things that we wanted to share with you on today. It's never too early to prepare to be a doctor, and we encourage our young people to start thinking about medicine, get involved in a mentoring program. Am Abel Foundation is an exceptional program because not only do we give you strong academic support, STEM, tutoring, and all of the things that are necessary to be successful in medicine, we also put you with your own physician one-to-one. And we know that's how we make future doctors, the job of medicine makers. So thank you, and my co-host Kellen Scott for spending this cold evening with us. Hope to see you next week.